Hello, my name is Toby, and I will be presenting, on The Prince by Machiavelli. So, my question to all of you is, have you ever wanted to rule a nation? Because I know I sure have. Have you ever asked yourself, how am I going to do this? Well, have no fear. Toby is here, and I'm going to break it down and how you can rule the world and be successful in it. If we take a look at The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, which was published in 1532, which was written while actually Machiavelli was actually exiled from Florence. He wrote this book and dedicated it to Lorenzo de Pero de' Medici, who became the prince during this time. A topic that has been profound to me is it better to be feared or loved? So let's get into it and break this down so you can be enlightened, and hopefully one day you'll be able to rule. Obviously, unless I get there first. Okay, I'm taking over. A nation state can either be a republic or a principality, either old or new. A state that has been passed down from generations is easy to rule, clearly. But taking over a new state and keeping control is difficult. A monarchy family is easy to get rid of because all you have to do is eliminate them and you have all their land. That's what you call easy work. Alexander the Great did this to conquer and hold the Persian Empire from Darius III. So now you may be asking yourself, okay, that's cool and all, but I'm not Alexander the Great. And check this out. I know you aren't Alexander the Great, but you can still rise to power. How? Easy. Follow examples of those in the past, be well armed. Any resistance you face, take them out with cruel, swift, and firm methods while giving the people benefits gradually. Because as prince, you must have the people on your side, which means people have to fight for you. People need to die for you. Meaning, you need your own army. No mercenaries, no other people's army, none of that. You must have your own, and they must be successful. You must also know your history, study war, and know your own land. You must appear good, but also know how to be evil. Don't worry if people think you are cruel. You can control fear. Try to become cunning. And obviously, you may not be loved, but as long as you aren't hated, you are secure. Big castles and fortresses don't matter, because they can't protect you against your own people, aka betrayal. Be purposeful, unwavering, and determined. Encourage people to start agriculture, arts and crafts, give people spectacles and festivities. Don't take flattery too well, because prior princes of Italy actually lost their power due to their own inaction rather than any sort of misfortune, we shall say. Now, if we take a look at King Louis XII and his mistakes, he fought against Lombardy, and he gained the trust of surrounding places of Italy like Florence, Milan, etc. But instead of allying with them, he switched up, super bogus, and he aligned with Pope Alexander VI, actually. So mistake number one was he decided to crush all the surrounding small powers rather than the large ones, which technically alienated King Louis. And in the meantime, while he's becoming alienated, the Catholic Church rose to power because of King Louis's help. And Machiavelli states, you lose power, whoever is responsible for others becoming powerful ruins himself. Since King Louis did this, people of Milan started to hate him and side with the Pope. King Louis, safe to say, quickly lost all Italian territories. Now let's throw it back to the Greeks. In Greek mythology, many heroes like Achilles and Hercules were taught by a half man and a half beast called Chiron, who was the wisest of all centaurs. He taught them how to think like a man, but also a beast who has a strong will to survive. Machiavelli states that there are two different animal instincts that a prince should have, and that is a lion and a fox. Because a lion, he is mighty and brave and strong and often doesn't need to fight because his reputation will keep opponents at bay. But a lion isn't as cunning and smart like a fox. The fox can spot deception, it can spot traps. So a combo between strength and cunning is needed to overcome a number of challenges. So adaptability, is very important. So, how should a prince conquer a state, right? Well, as I said earlier, eliminate the entire ruling family. This will remove the greatest threat to power. In Russia, actually, in 1917, the Bolsheviks, which was led by Vladimir Lenin, executed Nicholas II, who was the ruler. But you know what else he did? He killed his entire family. Machiavelli states that if you must injure a man, make sure you injure him so severe that you do not fear his revenge. It is ruthless advice, but it uses logical reasoning, so it makes sense. You must treat people well, or you destroy them, because any action in between is going to cause enemies. Machiavelli states that you should not take land you cannot keep or defend, because success is viewed as socially approved, no matter how you acquire it, while as failure is social disapproval. So let's take a moment and think about today's world. I mean, in our media, in our news, what do we hear more of? We always hear more, way more actually, of the bad things and failures than you hear success stories. And why is this? It is because we the people find this more appealing. Therefore, as a prince, you must know your own limits. Never rely on others, but rely on you and your own arms and your own people. Machiavelli also states to make alliances during your rule, because you need people, right? But don't make them too strong, because eventually they will turn on you. So, throwing it back, if you remember King Louis from earlier, you remember how he allied with the church, Pope Alexander VI, and he did this through treaties and such. But eventually the church and Milan and all the people, they turned up against him. And because King Louis destroyed many smaller states who could have aided him against the Pope, but he therefore failed to keep his territory. Think of it like a balance beam, you know what I mean? The stronger you get, the weaker others get. But on the flip side, if you help others get more powerful, the weaker you become. So, I think that pretty much explains it for itself, you know? But now, when discussing is it better to be feared or loved, Machiavelli talks of two great military leaders. He talks of the Roman general Scipio Africanus and the Carthaginian leader Hannibal. Scipio, he was a great commander, you know, he was respected, but he was never feared by his men or people in the community. Because Scipio couldn't do certain things because it would hurt his public opinion. Certain tactics he never could do in war. And eventually, this led his own troops to rebel against him. Sucks. So Machiavelli states that no prince should mind being called cruel for keeping his subjects peaceful and loyal. Hannibal, on the other hand, was a very cruel leader, but his army was very diverse, of many different races. The fear others and his own army had for him allowed him to rule longer and have a much bigger empire. Bravery and excellence is not enough for loyalty. Strength and discipline is required for control, right? So, good leaders are admired, strong leaders are respected. It's a big difference. Over-compassionate enables disorder. So being too nice is never a good thing, even in today's time. So let's go back to Hannibal, who does cruel punishment. Is it really cruel if overall it helps make everything stable? While we take Scipio, on the other hand, who shows mercy, is it really merciful if it causes turmoil and disorder for the people and the army? It hurts everyone, right? Right. So, meaning a limited number of cruel punishments will only affect a few individuals, while too much mercy can cause disorder and mess up an entire community. One of my favorite quotes is when Machiavelli states that, "For love is preserved by a bond which due to the failings of man is broken at every opportunity to their advantage. But fear is strengthened by true dread of punishment, which is always effective." Because at the end of it all, the ultimate goal is to maintain the state, right? Like, this is what we want. And in order for us to do this, you must not be hated. You must protect your citizens, avoid interfering in their lives too much, so you must only be cruel when absolutely necessary. Don't take property. Punishment must be known ahead of time, and especially known ahead of time if lives are to be taken. Because Machiavelli states, people will forget a loved one's death quicker than they will forget someone taking their home. So it is important to remember the strength of rulers. The weakest depend on love. The stronger inspires fear in his people. But the strongest prince instills both fear and love. So balance. So believe in strong, decisive manner, which sometimes may be cruel, but never to a point where the people hate you for it. So behave in a strong, decisive manner, which sometimes may be cruel, but never to a point where the people hate you for it. So in conclusion, I hope that you have gained some knowledge in history, war, and other rulers. I hope you have learned from their mistakes, thought of your own new ideas, and are now able to start your own journey as prince, and hopefully take over. I have given you more than enough ideas and background to start this journey. So my final words to you guys are, let the race begin.